Hey everyone, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with the new HTC Amaze. And before we get started on a review of the HTC Amaze, I'd like to remind you that this is October 2011, and this month Wirefly has worked out an arrangement with the Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation, and Wirefly will be donating $1 for every additional person who gives us a like vote on our Facebook page. That's Wirefly's Facebook page. So if you go to Wirefly's Facebook page and like Wirefly, Wirefly will donate $1 to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, which is, as you all know, I'm sure, fights breast cancer. So this is a great cause, and it doesn't cost you anything at all. Wirefly will be making the donation. All we ask is that you go to our Facebook page and give us your like vote. Okay, let's take a look at the HTC Amaze. Let's first run down the features. The Amaze has a dual-core 1.5 gigahertz processor, very fast processor, 1 gigabyte of processor RAM. Those are state-of-the-art specs. That's as good as it gets right now with cell phones. It's the first phone to have T-Mobile's HSPA Plus data download capability out to 42 megabits. Now that's the theoretical speed, 42 megabits. You'll see that I did a speed test and I got nowhere near 42 megabits. I've since done another speed test. I'll talk about that a little later on. As you can see, this has HTC's Sense 3.0 user interface. It's definitely Sense 3.0. I know that some of you were hoping it would be Sense 3.5, but it is Sense 3.0. I'm going to try to find that in here somewhere. Software information, here we go. HTC Sense version is 3.0, and you can see that it's Android 2.3.4. Okay, there's a lot of other features it has. On the back, it has an 8 megapixel still image camera with a dual LED flash. It can do 1080p HD video. I've taken lots of pictures and some video with this phone, so we'll talk about those shortly. On the front, it has a 2 megapixel front camera. Very easy to use the camera. It has dedicated camera and camcorder buttons here. This button here that's not marked is the dedicated camera shutter button. The one with the red dot on it is the camcorder button. Of course, this is the volume up down rocker. On top you have the on off and lock switch, a standard 3.5 millimeter audio jack. Now HTC's Charm that runs in the HTC Rime phone for Verizon, that will not work on the Amaze. So here is the USB, micro USB port, and that's pretty much it. On the back you've got a speaker, and you have what you have back there. I can pop it open. This is how it opens up. It's got a 1730 milliamp hour battery. This is my well-worn T-Mobile SIM. The Amaze comes with 16 gigabytes of onboard storage, and it has an empty memory expansion slot. It can take up to 32 gig of micro SD card for storage. So let's talk just a moment more about the 16 gigabyte onboard storage. Some of that, 2 to 3 gigabytes of that, is used up by the user interface and by Android. So you only get about 13 gig or so. That's not too bad, especially since you can stick in a card and expand it at your leisure. So this phone looks pretty darn good, and it's got some very nice features. Let's go back to the features just a little bit. It can do a Wi-Fi hotspot. It can do Wi-Fi calling. So that's very nice. And I do believe that you will use your T-Mobile minutes when you do Wi-Fi calling. But of course, if you are someplace that's got strong Wi-Fi, at least you can get a very strong signal and you'll be less likely to drop. It also has near-field communication, NFC. Not too many phones have that, but it's slowly phones are being delivered with that NFC capability. It also does do tethering. I don't know if I said before that it didn't do tethering, but you can see here that not only does it have Wi-Fi hotspot, but it has tethering as well. And it has the usual great stuff that you get with Android. You know, you've got navigation, you've got access to the Android market, and you've got access to the web, of course. Let's take a very brief look at access to the web. And this is what it comes up with to begin with. Now, my service here says 4G, but I really do not get 4G service here at the Wirefly building. I do get 4G service at home, which is where I took the test. But here you go. This is what, it's got a version of Yahoo here. And if you want to go somewhere else, of course, you can go to Google, for instance. And there you go. It's going to take me to Google and allow me to do a Google search. So this has all the standard Android features that you know and expect to get on a standard Android phone. Okay, all of you are very interested in how the Amaze performs with standard benchmark tests. I've got both Quadrant and Smart Bench here. I'm going to go ahead and run Quadrant. I'll come back and pick it up when the benchmark is about ready to wrap up. This is the last of the graphics tests in Quadrant, and we will go ahead and get the results. Very nice. This says it's 2167. I've actually gotten a score on the same phone of more than 2500, so this is a relatively low score that I've seen for Quadrant on this phone. Even at 2500 or 2600, that is substantially lower than the Quadrant score I get in the Samsung Galaxy S2 phone. Now, I don't have the T-Mobile version of the Galaxy S2. All I have is the Sprint version, which is called the Epic 4G Touch. The Epic 4G Touch gets Quadrant scores routinely 3200, 3300. Some people are saying 35, 3800. But the one I have, I've routinely gotten 32, 3300. Now, I'm pretty sure that Quadrant is only running on one of the two cores in this dual-core phone, so that may have something to do with that. I don't know if that's true or not with the Samsung Galaxy S phone. I have the feeling that the Galaxy S2's dual-core processor actually spreads the Quadrant duties out across both of the processors. Okay, I'm going to go to Smart Bench, and we'll take a look at the Smart Bench scores. Here we go. Oops. And Smart Bench does that to me a lot. There we go. All of a sudden it snaps that ad in and it drops down everything, and I touched the wrong place. Okay, I'm going to come back and pick this up when it's ready to wrap up. This is the last of the graphics tests in Smart Bench, and it will wrap that up in just a minute. These graphics tests move pretty quickly on this phone, and that is a pretty good idea that the phone is a fast phone. So let's get the scores. And there we have the scores. The games score is 1884, that's 1884, and the productivity is 2890, that's 2890. Pretty darn good scores. Again, the Galaxy S2 phone gets better scores. These are good scores, very good scores, in fact. I don't want to diminish how good those are actually excellent scores. But not up to the Galaxy S2 standard. So now, of course, the Sensation, the HTC Sensation, came out for T-Mobile earlier this year, about 3 months ago, and it is a very good phone. It's a little slimmer than the Amaze is, but otherwise it has the same footprint. They both have the same 540 by 960 display that measures 4.3 inches diagonally. Very nice display, looks very attractive. And I think that the Sensation is just a little bit slower than the Amaze. So the Amaze isn't really, I thought it was going to be a big leap in performance. It's really just kind of an evolutionary leap. It's more like, you know, if you had a car with a 4-cylinder turbo in it, that would be the Sensation. And the Amaze is a car with a nice big 6-cylinder engine in it. So it's smoother, it's got more power, but not a lot more power. So now I'm going to go talk about the camera. We have, of course, you can get to the camera just by pressing the dedicated shutter button here, and that will take you to the camera. This will take you to the front camera. Hi, there I am. Yes, you can see me. Whoops. You can see me in glorious 2-megapixel goodness. There I am. Okay. My little studio, I've got lights to the left and right, and there's my Canon camera that I use all the time. So hey, here's my chemistry tie. Can you see my chemistry tie there? Anyway, that's the front camera, a 2 megapixel. The rear camera, you can switch to the camcorder by going there. You've got lots of adjustments. Let's go back to the main still image camera. You've got lots of adjustments. Come on, there you go. So this is a really fun one. This is called Smart Shot. And with Smart Shot, it will take several pictures and then it will piece together from all the pictures the best smiles, getting the eyes open and so forth. So if you have a group of people and you're finding it hard to get everybody to smile and keep their eyes open, you can use the Smart Shot and take care of that using that feature on this phone. So it's got some really terrific camera features. It's got the camera features that were in the MyTouch 4G slide, plus a few more. So here is the sweep shot. I took a sweep shot. I'll show you that in a moment. This is the Clear Shot HDR. That's the high dynamic range. I've experimented with that, although I'm not going to show it to you. And it's got a variety of other shots. It has an interesting portrait shot that I like as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and talk about the camera. So when I shot with the camera, you know that I like to take a still life. I set up a little still life on my desk. Here's what that still life looks like. Now, I didn't use any extra light. This is just with the ambient light, which is not very much, and pretty clear. And I went in for a close-up, a tight macro shot, and I was pretty impressed by the color balance. Again, this is with ambient light, very low ambient light, so you can see that the noise level's a little high, but I thought that the color balance was good. I thought the focus was good. And then I like to take a flesh tone shot. This is Luis on the left and Jen on the right. And the flesh tones, I thought, with this phone, using the flash, using the automatic settings, I thought were excellent. However, if we look carefully at this shot, although when I took the shot there was a box around both of the faces indicating it was focusing on the faces, if you look carefully, the faces are a little soft compared to the background behind them. Look at the coat rack behind Luis. It's actually, I think, sharper than Luis's face is. So the focus isn't perfect. It's not bad. I like the flesh tones. This has some of the best looking flesh tones that I've gotten. Then I took the phone outside and I shot some HD video with it, some 1080p HD video. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, here is the HTC Amaze. So I'm shooting in 1080p video. That is the Wirefly building right there. It is a beautiful fall day. The kind of day we wait all summer to get. I'm just going to move around a little bit. Beautiful, crystal clear blue sky, pleasant temperature, warm sun. Look at the green grass. So this is an example of the video from the HTC Amaze. By the way, it should have stereo audio. So now I'm on one side of the phone and now I'm on the other side of the phone. We'll see if that stereo audio works. So the HTC Amaze in 1080p video. Well, I thought the video looked pretty darn good. It's a little noisy perhaps. The audio is okay, not spectacular, but the stereo effect did indeed work. So I thought in general that this had a pretty good video, among the best video that I've seen from any cell phone, although it's just marginally better than other cell phones. So I have the HTC Amaze at home because I get good T-Mobile 4G reception at home. We get 4G reception at work, but we don't get 4G speeds, unfortunately. So I do get 4G speeds at home. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the CNET bandwidth meter, which is my favorite speed test. And we'll go ahead and conduct a speed test with the CNET bandwidth meter. And let's get it all set up. There we go. Let's get started. And there we go, a speed test 6.7 megabits per second, not too bad. Just for the heck of it, let's give it another try. Now the Amaze, of course, has a theoretical maximum speed of 42 megabits. It'll never reach that, of course. The second test was 5.1 megabits, and that's the download speed for the HTC Amaze. Now this is a big phone. I compared it to the Sensation, although I don't have the Sensation here to physically compare it. But take a look how it compares to a credit card. It's much, much bigger than a credit card. And of course, it's very thick. You can see how thick it is compared to the credit card. And it's heavy too. It's 6.1 ounces. Compare that to the Samsung Epic 4G Touch. That's the Galaxy S2. The Galaxy S2 is thinner, it's lighter, and its overall footprint is more or less about the same. It's maybe slightly wider, but it is about as tall as the Amaze is, and it is significantly lighter. The Epic 4G Touch is about 4.6 ounces, so 6.1 to 4.6. You may think that that isn't a lot, but my friends, it is actually quite a bit. This does have Sense 3.0. I love the flip clock and the weather widget, and I love the the barrel roll, the carousel they call it, that it does. A lot of fun. But this is just an incremental step up from the Sensation. So if you have the Sensation, you do not have to burn with desire to get the Amaze. If you don't have the Sensation, you're using a single core phone, well, the Amaze is going to blow you away. So it's a very nice phone, beautiful display, nice camera features, good download speeds with the 4G speeds on the T-Mobile network. If you are near a fast T-Mobile tower, you will really enjoy the speeds. When I loaded some apps from the Android market on this, I couldn't believe how fast they downloaded to the phone and then installed in the phone. It was like, wow, that's done already? Very impressive. So I can recommend the HTC Amaze. It is a really good phone and definitely has some strong features, especially with respect to the camera and video, and the dual-core processor is really outstanding. And by the way, if you're in the market for a phone, Wirefly would like to be your phone vendor. Wirefly is the largest online retailer of cell phones in the US, and if you like the videos that we provide for you, hey, why not give Wirefly a try when it's time to buy a phone? I'm Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly. Thanks for watching.